the headlines, the issues impacting you, all on This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side.
It was once on America's front line in the war against Nazi propaganda, and it's right in our own backyard. The Voice of America's Bethany Relay Station in Westchester was a triumph of engineering. This is what it looks like right now from our quadcopter, Sky 9. Nothing like the VOA had ever been built before now. It's celebrating 75 years, by the way, since its first historic broadcast.
Daily at this time, we shall speak to you about America and the war. The news may be good or bad. We shall tell you the truth.
After World War II, the Bethany Relay Station's mission continued as the United States fought propaganda from the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The facility was decommissioned in 1994. Now, the Voice of America building in Westchester is now a museum, and joining us, its director, Jack Dominic, whom some of you, of course, will remember, was always once the general manager of WCET. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jack.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me.
I have to say, I'm an Air Force veteran, and I knew of Voice of America, but I didn't know about the relay station.
Right.
And it fascinates me that they were able to communicate from here with these huge towers and dials around the world.
Exactly. In fact, if you really looked into the history, when they first started thinking about the Voice of America, they thought they were going to have to build the transmitters in Greenland.
Really?
Because they didn't think it was possible to get a strong signal into Europe and where they wanted to go until they talked to Powell Crosley. And that's why it's here in Cincinnati.
So obviously, people that aren't engineers or scientists or something,
Sure.
how can you get a radio signal from Westchester, Ohio, all the way over into the middle of a war zone?
Two things. First of all, lots of power.
Right.
Lots of power. And second of all, shortwave is not line of sight, similar to television, which is essentially line of sight.
Sure.
FM radio's line of sight, etc. Shortwave radio bounces off the ionosphere and back down to Earth. So, if you think about it, it's similar to satellites. Bing, bing, and you're back down to Earth. That's how it works. But great amount of power as well. These were 6 quarter-million-watt shortwave transmitters. I mean, the lights dimmed when they turned it on.
From what I hear, they didn't even have heaters in the building because
That's right.
the tubes and everything, they were so hot you didn't need heaters in the building.
Oh man, it's too bad we don't have it now. We keep Westchester would be Palm Beach.
Probably glow at night.
That's right.
Probably glow at night. Now, it's a museum right now. It's not open like on a regular basis.
It is open once a month,
Okay.
but I'll tell you a little secret.
Yeah.
Beginning not too distant future, we're going to be open every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and next summer we're going to be open through the week as well. So we're getting there.
What are you hoping to preserve? Some of the land with the original towers and that has gone, it's been turned into parks and other things. What are you hoping to do with this?
Well, we preserved the facility itself, which is really a cool building. It's Art Deco, and it's built very, very strong. And second of all, we have some of the control room and some of the technology in there, which was all made there, interestingly enough. Back then, you didn't go to Radio Shack to buy things, you made it.
Right.
So we tell that story. But the most compelling story is, as much as the technology is really cool and powerful and all that, it's the stories. The way that the Voice of America began, as you the little clip that they just showed there, we will tell you the truth. Some of the news may be good, some of the news may be bad. President Roosevelt didn't want that early on. He wanted Voice of America to essentially be anti-Nazi, which, if you study your history, they knew how to use media, the Nazis, with movies and radio. He wanted to counteract that with a propaganda arm of ourselves. Instead, when he hired Edward R. Murrow and John Houseman, they came in and said, Mr. President, we would love to do that, but we're going to tell the truth from the beginning. Sometimes it's going to be good, sometimes it's going to be bad. And we get people coming to the museum now that listened during the Cold War, and they all say the same thing. We knew you were telling the truth, and then fill in the blanks. You guys aired the Watergate hearings live.
Right.
You aired the NASA space flight live. You aired the Kennedy assassination coverage live. Any country that would do that
must be telling the truth.
Must be telling the truth. So it served them well.
I mean, psyops and propaganda, it's been part of war for a very long time.
Absolutely.
So when you have something like this that enters the war,
precisely,
that's got to be critical to the mission.
I think so. And overall, as I said, we get people coming there now with tears in their eyes, visiting Cincinnati, and they say, this is where it came
And they're recalling, I was in this town in Germany or whichever, France or wherever they were listening to.
Well, at great peril.
Right,
I had a guy come not too long ago, Felix, God love Felix, comes to the door, knocks on the door, and he says, I've got something for you. He gives me this nondescript radio.
Right.
And I'm thinking, oh, just what I need, another radio at the radio museum. And then he explains. He said, no, you don't understand. I bought this radio in 1960, received shortwave, but it was designed in the Soviet Union. The frequencies of Voice of America were X'd out. We could not receive them.
Interesting.
And then he has this sparkle in his eye, and he goes, I knew a guy. And they rewired the radio. And he said, everybody in my village had one, and we called it the Under the Blanket radio.
I love history.
It's great.
What a great part of history, and history in Westchester with the Voice of America. Quick Facebook page or website people can go to?
Easy. VOA Museum.org.
VOAmuseum.org. There you have it. If you'd like more information as they continue, again, going to be opening up on the weekends. Great place to take the kids. All right, Jack, thank you so much for joining us this week in Cincinnati. You'll be right back.